Leone last year, November, we the first financial minister, we be there before Mr. Fantamadi Kam. And that budget day, most of the couple and all the other issues that the sector that they increase, they make mention, say, because of the Russia war and the global issues, that don't affect the country. We make him, they ask for certain money on the budget. So this same trend still gets linked with the supplementary budget?
Yes, somehow, because those challenges then they still there. When the world not overcome those challenges, the war in Ukraine still they gone, right? And we see still they continue to create supply chain bottlenecks in goods, especially essential commodities that will come on this part of the world. So therefore, they still there. But what's good about the budget is, and in terms of government focus, now how we will build we own internal resilient systems so that then shocks then they no continue for our factory. So essential commodities, especially like with staple food, rice, we want to focus on them and how for support that so that government go for begin grow rice and wheat and flour and those things so that we know say because world in other country and then they produce and so that we self begin suffer, we not able to do anything. So now then thing and then I would don't see how they build we own systems them for support some of the external shocks that we can get. Now, then, the supplementary budget in the focus on now.
In your early statement, you make mention of the growth of the economy and would have been projected for 5.2% growth, but as it is, only get 2.7% growth in the first quarter. What is responsible for this moderate growth of the economy?
Now, the macroeconomic fundamentals, then, because then change, if inflation increase, definitely affects growth because it means say the cost of goods and services increase in the economy and the private sector not able for produce as they don't produce because of increased cost of production. So then they make outputs go down and so definitely growth will slow down. And if the exchange rates depreciate, it also gets an effect on prices because we know say we are an import-driven country, so most of the things that they use as capital input for develop the country. Government they try for get electricity in all the seven or so districts, water supply, do roads. But most of the things you get for bringing income in country, we need to produce in higher. So if the exchange rate depreciates, it means say the cost of doing those product investments they go up and also it will affect the growth. So now then they make a slowdown. But once all those investments are in, and then you begin generate the services them or the goods that we will support the private sector for growth, then you will see the growth could begin move. But let me just correct that. It don't mean say we will say 2.7%. That means say like a bad thing happen because there's still growth, but just that it not grow as we expect say the economy for being grow at the 5.2%. But it's still the economy still a grow. Not so like an instance where you see the economy they go down because they grow. That's not the picture.
We get John Coker, we come off and we'll talk. Well, there for can talk about the civil society and security sector conference engagement we didn't get today. Well, waiting listening to the country, there for can talk on this particular conference. Good morning, welcome to the program.
Good morning, listeners.
From will talk, just like the last time we host you, you been talk about some of the work done that they do, for mediate peace, bring people in together outside conflict, especially when it comes to the rural communities them. And now I forget the civil society and security sector conference. But how we reach to this particular point within they behind this conference?
Thank you very much. First and foremost, we call them civil society security sector dialogue. But how we get to this point? Not a secret. We all know, say, since the election, tension had not grown in the country, and more so tensions with the civil society and the security sectors. Some civil society people and they were I don't talk to, and some of them they raise a lot of concern that then they feel threatened, and their life they at risk, etc., etc. I'm not going to say yes or no to that, but I think say now a valid concern with the security sector for address. And the security sector also, in their way, they don't do quite a lot during the election and post-election. But there is still need for we sit down and dialogue. How they go proactively try for enhance the safety and security of civil society people. And not say in most cases we all go confirm, say we not get state-sponsored death threat or something like that. But the political parties then therefore take responsibility for actions then where their supporters they do or they intend for do. So basically, we as Fambu Talk, as a peace building organization, we're very much concerned that the civil society people also, their concerns there not for just be swept under the carpet. Make us sit down and discuss. And also the police. Make us come and just sit down as security and civil society. We get to complement each other. There is no way we will talk about civil society activities without a safe environment. But equally so, the security sector need civil society for cooperate to them. Information sharing, etc., etc. So this is not the main reason. We want for go sit down, we get a frank dialogue, frank talk. And also we hope say we will get that courage for go through the hard conversation. We're not a cast blame, but for make the country go before, we'll all get for day on the same page. The election, the parties then, APC and SLPP go continue with their own election talk. Government they go on, but civil society also they go on. We need to find ways for make we continue for play we role and complement each other where necessary. Also raise issues then where we need the government for address. So basically, this now for help for enhance the climate, the atmosphere, for make civil society continue for thrive and make we do a work. Because we work is very much important in the governance space. There is no way the country will run without the activities of civil society. And we want to make sure say all CSOs them across the country then get an enabling environment for work freely. They're not afraid say their life they're at risk because of their support party A or party B, or because they belong to, like the election observers there. Because I talked to some of them, they all get some concerns. But we want to make the security sector come proactively allay their fears. And where necessary, may them also proactively give them assurance and security for me them go about their work effectively in the country.
What think will be the issue where civil society will be identified as party A or party B, where civil society somebody go say expected for be neutral?
Yeah, Musa, you know Sierra Leone, me na Sierra Leone. We don't talk several times. There is this perception. There is a perception that you call some civil society, as you call them, they say, oh, na red house day. You call some, they say, oh, na green house day. I know they come here for say, na true or na lie. But the perception is out there. So we they say, regardless of that, regardless of public opinion, but they all get a right, they get a responsibility for work effectively. And the government get a duty for make sure say the atmosphere is conducive. And we as civil society, we say get a duty for make sure say we discharge we duties them responsibly. So we get for sit down and find a converging point.
Okay, earlier you make mention say after the election tension on the go, but people who get concerned with regards standing because after the election we see everybody on the go about the normal business. So actually outside this tension they waiting little than the end. Secondly, people who concerned we get for do with any kind of conference there. Is it that the country they face security threats or waiting at the actual reason?
I think I go assure you say the country know they face security threat, but it's also important for discuss and proactively address concerns where they come from, civil society and the citizens them. After the election, we all know what may go on. Some suspicion, some allegations that they evacuate some people there. We know I'm going to all those details. We as a peace building organization, we believe say the government get a responsibility for make sure say we work effectively, unhindered, and we as civil society, we all get a responsibility for do a job with care and also with some sense of responsibility. But basically, at some point, we they fall along the wayside. So we try to say, let's come back together. Security sector, what we for do? For instance, the one that we say their life they are threat. How we go assure them for work effectively? You see, this country will get certain things where one person can just malign or raise concern where they affect the international image. So we don't want to go into that. We don't make that happen. We be there during the post-war, and we know how some of we will take advantage of that situation there. But it will get a ripple effect, on the country. Remember, where Jan Kababi go, I think be London or so where he go talk say the war done. Make people then come back home. Some people them, they get major concerns. We're not going to all of that. We just want to make the government, through the security sector, the ONS, the SLP, may they assure civil society. And fortunately, they're all the two heads them, they're very much willing for go listen to we and make us find a way. You know, like the hotline where they institute during the election. Is there a way for me that continue? For make if person get any security concern, for call them and raise concerns? You know, some of we they work now the interior places and also in the city. Not to all time you get police presence. But how you be able to get that assurance? If something happen, make we call ONS or police, may they find ways for respond, and we assured say they go be there. So that's the atmosphere where we want for beg. We colleagues them and beg the security sector, say, look, let's find a way out, or else, you know, this now one country will get.
So you as CSO, your life they under threat?
No, me not get that. But there are some where I talk to where they raise concern. You know, and I know they say it's right or it's wrong. I know they say not true, not lie, but some raise concern.
No, let we look at the issue of threats. It could be done to journalists, it could be done to citizens, it could be to the politicians. Why civil society decide for call the security sector for their own protection, not the general public?
Well, the idea is when the civil society, you know, then get a safe space for operate, indirectly, then raise issues that we get for do with the public. And, you know, if, you know, like we come from the human rights background, they can normally say who defend the defenders. The journalists, una they raise issues, but when una get concerned, una they write or broadcast una concerns. So we as CSOs, we just want to make, if we get an enabling environment, we go talk what thing they go on and bring them to the attention of the government through the security sector. So it's more or less a space for make we address something that was maybe then they under the carpet, but we need to bring them up for make we go move forward.
Okay, so now nothing say it's high time now go back to the drawing board and address some of the issues them where like people they get with CSOs them.
Now part of what we hope for do so. Because also important for me to know say, you know, part of what we go now like a post-mortem. We as CSOs, we will observe the election. What do we do where we go well, what do we do when not go well? The security sector, what do they do, how their cooperation with CSOs during the election, what do we need for improve next election. So basically now a general conversation where we start today, now Radis in blue, but it's just the start of the conversation. We hope say at the end of the dialogue today, we'll come up with some recommendations for make, not just because you did Freetown, we're concerned about your protection. If you didn't have Falaba, civil society for able for operate well. But the same thing, if you didn't have McKinney, civil society for operate well. You didn't have Cambia, then for operate well. So basically, now a security concern for CSOs across the country, where indirectly will also make the country continue for enjoy the peace way they enjoy.
Okay, continue for stay with me inside the program. In name na John Coker from Fumble Talk. The program na Good Morning Saloon. If you just the January, especially with Facebook viewers them. Today inside the program, Fumble Talk Saloon, we talk about reason we make then they engage civil society and the security sector conference we na today August 1st, and also we get the financial sector in the Ministry of Finance where they talk about the supplementary budget where Parliament agreed for yesterday. So we come to we other studio guests we na Mathew Dingie in the financial sector. For somebody they listen now go like forget and highlight of the total supplementary budget. I mean the amount we una presents.
It's about 3.5 billion new loans.
3.5 billion new loans. How that
so
different from the ordinary deficit between the original budget and the supplementary budget?
Yeah, so that are the additional. In the original budget, we talk about 10.6 or so trillion. So you add 3.5 there, so it will go about close to 14 billion new loans now in the total budget.
Earlier, I asked you about the issue of the budgets where you say the growth being the growth now 2.7
yes.
Instead of 2.5 would have been the project 5.2 would have been the project, and you mentioned the issue of the economic activities them. Now we look at some of the economic activities them we pull the Ministry of Finance off from the real projection of economic growth.
Sure. Well, like I say, most of the things that we address so now are things that we're not to necessarily deal within the ambit of government. because now external shocks them will continue for linger globally. We will feel that ripple effects because we also depend on the global economy for making we survive. So if most of the inputs and where they come in country come from outside, and those things are already affected by supply chain disruptions, higher prices globally, and you self get for buy them for coming country, for use them for produce goods and services, it translates into your local economy, and that self will affect you.
The exchange rates now one way very they up now. The dollar don't they go up, and this don't be major concern. We don't they tell on the price of commodities. Them earlier I would do a report about the bus price, and people don't they raise concern about them. Whenever the Minister of Finance or anybody at the end of affairs now, the financial sector can talk about the rate of exportation or the importation as against. When you look at the trade, the import versus export, according to the presentation by the minister yesterday in the Well of Parliament, that Salon the imports more than the way they exports. Waiting when they do now henceforth for ensure say when balance the strike between importation and exportation for reduce the negative margin.
Sure. So definitely like the number one priority when Excellency the President don't pronounce so feed Salon. Because if you look bulk of we imports, they come from food. Because these things people they also be the complaint for on radio, onions, all of these things. Now import to the importer. Rice, the food basket is very high. And so that they make clear the affects will exchange rates adversely because we depend so much on the also coming. So when this Excellency President declare, say let's feed ourselves. It means say all the NTR within our essential food baskets, if we begin for good and Salonia, then we will be insulated from the shocks that they happen globally, because we will forget enough for ourselves, we food ourselves before there will be exports, like I say for export. And now only way you export, now your currency they attract value. Because the possibility in the other country, they therefore need your money now for buying your local domestic market. So they can trade your own currency for get your own and buy for you, and then you send them go out to them. So that they make your own local currency strong. So if you know exports, then it's a challenge. But in the interim, what do they do? Working with the Bank of Sierra Leone and the other financial services, we don't focus on how we improve on the supply side effects on the currency. We know say there are lots of bureaucracies, lots of challenges in the past, maybe they affect how they trade with foreign currency within the domestic economy. So in the first half of the year, we don't revise the Bank of Sierra Leone Act. We don't give now some leverage for banks for even now accept deposits in forex, trade amongst themselves in forex and things like that. And even people the way they do business with the banks, how they can also use foreign currency for do them trade with little or no restriction. But just that the Bank of Sierra Leone give guidelines on how they go about for doing those things. So when you bring them laxity into the system, people then get confidence and assurance that their foreign currencies can come into the banking system and they can live again easily without too much restrictions or controls. Then they dampen the demand, and when they make clear, people then get confidence and the Leone go begin appreciate. So at then thing they don't do in the last month or two, we make you see now the currency at least it's a bit stabilized at 22, 21 over a month or so.
Okay.
So these policies then will continue, and we believe they will continue for address the foreign currency challenges we get.
You be the talk about the expenditure and different economic issues them way like una do we allocate and all. Now with the issue we get for do with the subsidy when it comes to petroleum products, because when the minister be the talk, it be start first for talk about some of the thing them we government do for say they maintain the price where people and they use for buy fair now and all the arrangements they do. But for this second financial year, we say then they pull all subsidy per petroleum products them. How una reach at this conclusion?
Well, like how the ministers have mentioned, the subsidy is not sustainable. Government's not able to carry on for a long time. You can carry on for a short period of time, but when it becomes lengthened, it become unsustainable. Because what you could say so, the price who they buy petroleum products for at the pump, like for example, take that 21. If you look inside, they're waiting at the tax where they can to government, something like just 5 or 6 leons. The rest of them, they deal with the cost of the commodity itself, the transportation for car with our main country, and for distributing to the various stations there. So we don't get nothing for the government. So that tax and money. So what thing government don't do in the short time when you say they for subsidize them, because of the time short, they go say okay if the price go up, they say okay I don't want to let the people then suffer. That means tax of 5 leons, and they reduce them to 3 leons. So let them let the price this. So we go back, the government say, okay, they reduce them to 2 leons. We go up and they reduce them to 1 leon. So government they lose in own tax we forget from the sale of the petroleum just for they keep the price. But as the lengthen, the eventuality they happen, that tax they become wiped out. We mean say government again nothing again for the sale of the petroleum products, but the price will still continue for go up. And if you consider that means that government for take money from we own budgets now and begin give to the oil companies then for let them sell petrol give. So when would I go down they go benefits? Definitely the people who they consume fuel more, not to the poor people they the benefits. So now that make we say liberalize or gradually pass through the increase in price for the fuel, and then government able use that money now and do more social services for the one that we poor when you say it will affects them adversely. You improve on public transportation, school transportation, you do the health services, you pay teachers them, you pay doctors, nurses them, pay them well, so they're able for still get better conditions of service from that revenue day. Okay. But if you lost the revenue, it means you the government not able for even eliminate the challenge with the public they face.
So it's what you don't explain.
Yes.
With a likely for expect increase in petroleum products?
Well, the minister don't talk. He say we actually withdraw from the subsidy, but it will be gradually. Because right now, like if you look waiting for the market price, a way higher than 26. But as government will just grab overnight and say, oh, and they move the price straight away to that price day. No. Like I say, in the long term now they become unsustainable. But gradually we will see how they absorb that shock. The small till we eliminate it, where the public not will feel them so much where the price they go up. But really it hasn't got, like I say, not to say that governments in doing now because of within the global markets they dictate almost the cost the oil marketing companies and for bring these products in country and for let them sell them. And they are also doing business to make profits for let them survive. They also get employees then when the same Sierra Leoneans where they get for pay. If they don't make profit from that 3 day, they're not able to pay their employees and
but you know,
and they affect
this will therefore affect another areas them as well.
No, yes, that is. We obviously be conscious say when you touch petroleum price, it gets a ripple effect. But the point is what for try to understand waiting more good for the general of the country, waiting are the best decision for the country, where government for take, we go benefit everybody. The best decision are government for maintaining taxes, so they get because petroleum are one of the products where you know say you they get income from or revenue from every day. So government able for run effectively. When you get those taxes, you they able now for address the challenges where they affect the vulnerable people, where that price increase go more and more than the rich people. So you will take that money there now, like who they say, they pay exam fees for picking the way they go school. The parent they not go pay again. The school bus, instead of them pay 2,000 or 3,000, they go pay 500 or 1,000. You provide more public transportation. So government, now where government get money, now they able for do anything and the salaries, you see people they say they want to increase salary. If you don't get the revenue, how you government increase the salary? You don't get to. So now makes so government get for protect in taxes, and then you collect them, then you address waiting at the critical vulnerability challenges then at the economy, where you go meet the poor their needs then, so that at least government go function. Rather than you left them, say I know you do nothing, and then you lose all the revenue, and then you still cannot react as a government.
So now we look at going by the statement of the minister and well exactly say government will gradually restore the full pass-through petroleum pricing formula starting on August 1st, 2023. Starting gradually, we say when they start from, and what will be the impact in pricing with this step way a government could take?
One thing we do now really is public engagements. You know, in public policy, for it implement and for it gets the buy-in, especially of the public, the private people who do business, usually consult them and give them information and prepare their mindsets so that they know this what they're expecting. So when they just wake in the morning, tomorrow they say, okay, now this, tomorrow that. And they bring too much unpredictability in how they do in business. So we do public engagements. It don't start from the budget, say the minister do it. Now a public document. So the mindset of people is prepared that this thing is unsustainable and government need for address them. How government go address them gradually. So there will be public engagements from now, every day. Today is the first, no? So from today, tomorrow, next tomorrow, you go see from government side, from the OMCs, from the PRA, from the Ministry of Trade, engagements will come to the public for sure, waiting really na the reason for this drive and how government intend for do them.
When you talk about fair price, you already don't bring panic to people rushing for buy and plenty and keep them. Somebody they listen to now, when exactly the public will expect increase in price of fuel with the instance here?
The date stated already, minister already down. Say August 1. So what should they say?
It means the price starts.
No, they not announce waiting at the new price is. It say gradually from 1st of August, which means the expectation is from today, the engagements and the start where they lead to that price increase. So you might more prepared. You understand? So you know me say they could say now say okay now tomorrow or next tomorrow on a Friday or on a Saturday. But the mindset is prepared out for accommodating. But we don't say gradually you must expect. There is no need for hoarding because one thing about the commodity, it is better for it to be available whenever you need them and you buy them at the price. Rather than you increase the price, then the commodity not available, then it leads to that holding.
What think would be the expected new price?
My man. You go to the websites and everything globally, you see the price of plats and you translate and you will see. Like I say,
for the citizens
full pass through. No, listen, we want to be really open. This public finance, the more you educate people, the more they appreciate what government really they do. You understand? The full pass through, if you talk of petroleum price, is about 26 leones a litre. That's the correct full pass through. But now it is 21.5. So you can imagine. You see, government, they lost almost 4 leones for every litre of fuel they buy. Now, a lot of revenue. Look in the budget, $35 million from January to June. 738 billion. Now, if we don't come into the budget, if we don't pass through that price. So you ask yourself, $35 million. If government been get that money there by now, you know how much thing they for do?
So
you understand? But you give them away.
So in the pricing, are we expecting 26,000 leones?
No, I'm saying that's the full pass-through, but they say gradually. Gradually means it not go just jump from 21 to 26. Because it go too shocking. So government is still, because you want to minimize the burden on the public, the general public, you want to make sure say you do it gradually. So that people then go not say, okay, the price they go up, but it's not a big bang. You understand? So it will go up small, it stay there, it will go up, it stay there until you eliminate the subsidy. Some other countries, they will get waiting system, like Nigeria, we also see it happen. Immediately, one go, then just announce, eliminate all the subsidies, bam, full pass through. But we don't say go waiting, the people then they adjust to them and they don't go to normalcy. Mm-hmm. But that's really, this not so theory for do with government, it's about the reality. It's about how can you lose $35 million of revenue in 6 months where you for use for address your health challenges, your education. Now you want to do agriculture. You know how much machinery, how much agricultural inputs stand for bringing to the country for all grow rice. But we don't have the resources because we maintain the subsidy.
Get John Cocker, we come from will talk. They talk about the civil society and security sector conference. We then get today, and this conference they talk about issues them we get for do with safety of civil society. Now this conference they get on today. Waiting at some of the things them una get for good discourse, and we get for be una recommendation them.
Well, we as Family Talk, we're not just conveners. Where they bring civil society actors them from all over the country, representatives, and also the security sector, the boss for ONS and the boss for the SLG. We usually create a space for a dialogue. And we hope say part of what in the good dialogue on today. Now, how the security sector go proactively assure civil society there so they can go about their work and the space not shrink. And also, what we for do, both civil society and security sector for ensure say the space is protected. So but basically we hope say civil society will come up with maybe a long list of what they want for raise. And we believe say the security sector then go there for response. But it's purely a dialogue. We don't know what will be the outcome, and we don't know what will be the recommendation. But we hope say it will be a frank, honest dialogue between CSOs and the security sector for make we work together and find a way for make we continue for enjoy the peace we would enjoy.
What are some of the people would expect for the part of this dialogue today?
I work with my colleagues in the district. I mean, I'm going to be very honest with you. I don't know the one that will come because the leadership at the district level.
From the security sector and from civil society?
Well, from the civil society and the leadership at the district level. We invite them for me to send 3 representatives from each district. And from the security sector, I mean, they are really looking forward to this conversation. We hope to get the head of ONS and the head of the police. And again, as I say, na a frank dialogue. Because we know the candidate for go attack. No. It's about presenting issues. It's about responding to the issues. It's about creating the enabling environment for make civil society continue to do their work unhindered, and also make the security sector continue for do their own work back unhindered. Because I mean, you be asked one question, say how we gonna say some people then get threats? Go on social media. Some man then they post out and they threaten their family. But again, as I say, we know they go say right or wrong. Because in some cases, some just they exaggerate them also for get attention. Again, I know they say it's right or wrong, but that thing for discuss, more good discuss and make it not get out of their hands. Then they say a stitch in hand is better than 9. So we really hope say today na a moment for make we go rewrite the history and turn to a new page where in civil society and the police go try for get some cooperation. I'm not saying a difficult subject. As you call the police, almost say, hey, police, but I personally don't work with the police over me 20 more years in the human rights sector. There is no way we go work without the police. And the police not going to exist without the public. So we need to find a way for make we work.
And see you, the Trifor left in the studio, you earlier mentioned about perception of the public about civil society operators, them or members, them. What's the message to the public in terms of perception when they know the developer civil societies and also people who work with civil societies?
Well, I go appeal to the public that make them not the judge or decide, because CSOs today you issue a statement where favor or go in line with what the government do, then brand you greenhouse. You say something where go in line with the opposition, then brand you red house. Okay. So I want me the public not hastily come to conclusion, say this organization na ya a day or na yanda a day, but make them give we opportunity for make we demonstrate what would they do and how they go about it.
Okay, well, all the best with the conference and hope say we're going to achieve something out of the conference on the today.
Now the start of series of conversation.
Okay, well, plenty. Thank you for joining the studio.
Your name na John Coker from Fumble Talk. He been there inside the program. They talk about the civil society security sector dialogue where they all today. Now the Radisson Blue Hotel. Plenty thank you for joining me inside the program. We come to we other studio guests, the financial secretary and the Minister of Finance. Earlier, before we go for them, break them, we don't talk about the issue of the fuel, but another concern from the public now on point 24 of the minister in address, we touch the area of the electricity, where for some, again, EDSA top up, they can go up. For listeners and viewers of Radio Democracy, what exactly the minister be mean in page 24?
Okay, so let's just wrap up 1 minute on the fuel. Okay. Why would they talk about elimination on the subsidy? A lot of people can always feel that missing a price no more they go up. You know me say price they go up. It also means say when you eliminate subsidy from the formula, if price come down tomorrow, it reflects straight away at the pump. So if price come down, it reflects straight away. But we think can make it sticky at times price can, because the time the way the price they go up, because governments not be allowed the full pass through, you they lost your revenue. They tell the price they can you go on for restore or get the revenue with your loss, or the oil market they comes you for recover the losses the way they make, they tell the price they go up. So I'm making it reflect automatically. But when it is legalized, it is open. If price go up today, they go up. If it can down tomorrow, it can down. So which is a very good thing. We mean say you're able for actually get both winners. The OMCs and operate well, governments will getting revenues, and the public will say, "Where price don't go down, we foresee at the pump in next 2 or 3 days." You know, you can argue say, "Oh, I be subsidized, so I get for wait first," because when they subsidize, as price go down, it for go down. So which is a good thing. So coming the same thing on the energy tariff. If you read that paragraph, you look at the price who they buy the energy for from the IPP, the one with the producer. It's about 21 US cents per kilowatt hour, but you are selling it at 11 US cents per kilowatt hour. The gap is almost double. Where also they show say it is expensive. Or it's not sustainable. How will they pay for them? Now, the truth is, we have to look at it both ways. One, on the optic agreement, waiting government for do for really make sure say we minimize the cost where they take energy from these private companies where they can supply them. There are challenges them in the past. We now believe so for able to sit down and address them squarely. For example, there is no need for you to give just a 5-year, 10-year contract to a company for good use side. Nothing will stop you for say do it annually so that I go review how much you they sell them every year so that I go make changes as price they go up or price they go down. So these are some of the lessons they would all learn. We don't make that price always so high where they cost we a lot now the budget. And we don't sign agreements as a government. It's very difficult for me to just come, you say they go back and reverse them because it creates distortions for the private company then where they do their business there so and it will affect the way how they say they do business with government and credibility of government very, very important in the governance architecture. So you get to allow these agreements and for go through them period where you don't sign them for. But lessons learned is that make sure at least you really bring the agreements to very, very short term agreement that will be able to review quickly and take decision. And at the same time, the backup plans the way you go they make as government for making yourself up bring in lower or cheaper energy. So that's price where they talk so of course the gap is there. So the tariff will review. It not mean say they make them back they can catch up immediately to the 21. But at least what measures will take both for bring down the buying price down at the same time for adjust the tariff so that we'll meet
the tariff as it stands now 1,400 per unit.
Mm-hmm.
If we adjust them, what side it go to?
Well, that is, I'm not able to tell you now where it will go. Because the subsidy, again, is you self look. That means say that 1,400, the government is paying for you 1,500 for every 1,400 where you buy. Now that's the price issue right now.
Okay.
So which means government they pay for you kilowatt hour more than you where they buy right now.
Now the reality is that when you buy 50,000 heads at a pop, you will get 17 units.
Mm-hmm.
If they adjust the price, we mean say we buy 50,000, you go get that price, you need get that kind unit again. Is that the case?
Well, I make a say now both ways we get for look we need just say for increase even on the generation the price will they buy. Now we have time for sit down as government and really dialogue with or look at the agreements critically and see those areas where we forget cost savings on the pricing of the electricity where government they buy. So then they save get for help from 21 cents come down. If we buy and come down to like 16 or 15, then say if the price we can move on from 11 to 12 or 13, then you don't reduce that subsidy where government they pay, we go become more sustainable. So now both ways we get for look at not to only for just increase them, but also they look at what's in it for be done for bring the price can down back who they buy the energy.
Okay, so FS because we not get better time again, we wrap up the program just now. But just I just want to move a little bit from EDSA where they talk about tariff. Look at the projection, the revenue projection for the second half of the financial year. Mm-hmm. And we see the minister being talk, if I'm correct, I will put 1.22 billion and from that day for go to 10.56 billion, if I'm correct. And now that's the projection we want for the second financial year. I don't know for achieve this projection, this revenue projection.
Thank you, Princess. I mentioned earlier in the interview that before June, there was a Finance Act for 2023 we passed by Parliament with presidential assent. That Finance Act gets about 7 or 8 new tax measures for implement in this second half of the year. And some of that gets to do with how they digitize the way our government they collect revenue. There is so much hands playing in the way we collect revenue. So bulk of the revenue streams now, one for digitize them. How you pay for government services, you understand? For pay for passports, ID cards, driver's license, all of these things. Digitize them. Excise tax where they pay now the customs for alcoholic drinks or whatever. Digitize them so you know the exact quantity we come in. We able to know the excise way for pay. But we the manual, somebody can order declare what he can with and pay less money to government. So those are some of the measures that we inside the act. We're going for bringing more revenue come into the budget. We also talk about introducing tourism levy, right? For tourists the way they come, go to a restaurant, the way license, we then go pay some fees, we'll go also collect as revenue. Vehicle circulation fee. Anybody will own a vehicle, but they say for the one whole year, You just pay 200 loans for that vehicle that we own, right? So these are all areas where they get new revenue. Minimum added tax, minimum alternate tax. A lot of big businesses and companies they are declaring losses every year after year, and losses. So you don't even get corporate tax from them. So we don't say with this new finance act, we don't care, declare your losses, fine, but we'll tax 3% of your turnover, you pay it as tax to government.
But
so when you come 3, 4, 5 years later, you begin to declare profits now, you go able to recover back there, you go recoup them. Then go net more from your future corporation tax. But at least for the time being, government's going to get revenue from you, from the trade way they do, rather than just persistently declaring losses. So these are some of the new measures within inside the act. When we implement them, government they get our revenue the way they refer to so.
Then tax then they will not get for levied against them people, and they will not think say get for too much on them.
No, you see, because most of them are efficiency measures. Like I say, some of them they are already there, but the way they administer them is wrong, and you need to get the best out of it. So, like I say, when you automate the process, you digitize them, you close the room for the loopholes, the leakages, the way they in revenue generation, and then you bring in more revenue into the budget. So there is lots of rent seeking around revenue generation, right? But when you digitize the process, the person know in advance, this is what I have to pay. I can sit with my phone, I pay with mobile money. Now we have the national switch coming on. This Saturday, in fact, they are adding another platform to it where they make digital processing of payments very easy. So I can pay me tax without I not talk to nobody. Once I get my TIN number or whatever, we're even integrating the ECR machine and the ITAS system. We have paid for that so that with that machine there and the ITAS, the one tax code, you're able to pay your tax seamlessly from your business premises.
Okay. If you just join the program, you still listen to the financial secretary, Mathew Dingie. Inside the program, they talk about the supplementary budget, and according to the producer, you don't add 5 minutes to the program, even we done almost 9 o'clock. And Matt, you don't talk about the budget's activities them. But when we look at the domestic revenue projected, we now up for collect 10.56 billion revenue we will for generate, and also we na expenditure on 18.6 billion. We say we they get this money for fill the deficits within what we they generate and what we they.
Yes, so thank you. Firstly, I don't mention the additional revenue measures. We will bring in more revenue than we project at the original 2023 budget. And then secondly, we still get projections for external budget support from the partners like the World Bank. In the second half of the year, therefore disburse about $65 to $100 million directly into the budget. But we work on the program now because we get what we call triggers or benchmarks that we get for meet from reforms that we will do as government. When they're satisfied, so we don't implement the reforms, then we disburse that money get for camp. The IMF also, the program will get the IMF. In June, they already disbursed about $21.5 million. And as part of that review pass, they don't allow we follow draw an additional 1 billion new loans from the central bank under the special drawing rights facilities. So that's all an additional money we come in. And of course, from the domestic market operations, there's a limit on how much we can go into the market and borrow for finance the budget. So the budget is fully funded, just to address that you point on the gap. So all of these are the stopgap measures that we close our deficit.
And also, according to the minister's statement, Salon reserve reduced and declined. What are the issues of the decline, and what lead to the decline of the reserve, and what are the impacts on the economy when the reserve decline?
Of course, well, that make you see the depreciation happen faster, right? So that's why I say we are focusing now more on the supply side effects. How do we ensure that we get more forex coming in? In the same finance acts we are talking about, we get a provision there for now, say all mining companies for repatriate 30% of their export proceeds back in country through the banking system, right? When those inflows come, agriculture we already do well. There is repatriation happening in agriculture, but the mining sector, most of them, because of the current agreements we then get, they need to repatriate. But with that act, we're going to sit with all of them and make sure we amend those agreements for reflexing and for the comply. If you look that side, we talk about the exports. You're talking over $500 million, right? We export. Just imagine if 30% of that been come back into the country. It don't mean say we come back, now government they can use them more. But the banking system, they get access to that foreign currency. We go also help for build the reserves of the country, and we go also make for appreciate the interest. For appreciate the currency.
Somebody they say when they review fuel price, the review also adds out top, but salaries remains the same.
So you see, that's the point. I always ask the question: the chicken and the egg, which comes first, right? The point is, if government forgets the revenue first before you increase salaries, before you even for spend. So if you don't take the measures the first way for bringing the revenue, because you didn't just announce it tomorrow they increase your salary. You ask me, say, who's going for pull the money? You understand? So let me do those measures the way for bringing the resources first in the budget. When those resources come, I have predictability how they come. Then the minister will sit down now in the next budget where they prepare. They say, because these measures are working, revenue are coming. Next year, I'm going to increase salaries by this amount. Because it's shown how say go for pay.
Plenty thank you for joining me inside the program. Mathew Dingie in the financial secretary, the Minister of Finance, inside the program. They talk about the supplementary budget. Plenty thank you for joining me inside the program.
Thank you.